And going onto a mid-length egg. Those are kind of odd, difficult surfboards to ride. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning back into Shralp Stories. We actually had someone ask specifically for some tips on how to step down from a longer board into a short board and how to progress your surfing as far as that goes. So thank you, David Shu, for checking us out and recommending a video. So shout out, David, you're the man. But yeah, we're gonna go over some tips on how to break it down from a longboard to a shortboard, or a bigger fish to a shorter, smaller surfboard for more high performance surfing. So a lot goes into that, and yeah, we'll go over that in a little bit, but for now I want to go get in the water, rinse off, and wake up for the day. So see you down there. Alright, so we made it back to Shralp HQ. The waves were kind of fun this morning. It's a little small, a little inconsistent, so I didn't catch many waves, but nonetheless, good to get in the water. But I'm going to go over some tips on how to break it down from a longer surfboard into a shorter, more high-performance surfboard. And I think the biggest thing that you're going to need to work on is wave selection. So I notice a lot of people trying to paddle for waves that are not going to break, and I can tell that based on experience and seeing waves pretty often and trying myself to paddle for waves that are not going to break. So a lot of it's trial and error, but anyway, the more that you go surfing on a longer surfboard, you're going to notice which waves you can catch, which waves you cannot catch, and it's going to be a lot easier to tell which ones to go for. So I think number one, you're going to have to work on wave selection. Number two, you're going to be paddling around a lot on a longboard, and it's a lot more work to paddle it out through surf. So you're going to get more exercise. You're going to build your paddling muscles, and you're going to be stronger in the long run when you're trying to paddle on your shorter surfboard, which is going to be more difficult to paddle and therefore catch the wave as well. Another big tip for transferring from a longer surfboard to a shorter surfboard is learning how to duck dive. And the only really way you can do that is by trying it and messing it up. But one good way to practice is go in the pool with a boogie board, a shorter surfboard, or anything small. They're going to be a lot easier to poke under the water. So go in the pool and practice that. You know, it's just like a standard push-up, one knee on the board or your toes on the board, whatever you can fit. Push down on the front. Once it dips down, probably to like your bicep area, then you're going to pull it up towards you and duck your head down at the same time. So you're pulling yourself down to where your surfboard is, and at the same time you're going to be leveling it out. So rather than pulling it out, you're kind of like pushing it down, flattening it out with your foot, and then pulling yourself down to it, and the wave's going to come over top of you. So it's a good one to practice for sure when you're riding a smaller surfboard. A lot of the times longer boards, you're either popping over the wave or you're turtle rolling to go underneath it. Not many people can duck dive them, but what's his name? Stevie Sawyer from South Africa. I've seen him duck dive it. Kevin Skavarna. I've also seen him duck dive longboards. It's not an easy task, but it is a possible one. So anyway, Another good point to bring up about riding shorter surfboards is your takeoff point. So you want to make sure you're taking off in the right spot, not too deep, not too far on the shoulder. If you're too far on the shoulder, you probably won't catch it. And that brings me to my first point, or solidifies my first point, I guess. You want to be taking off deep enough, but not too far back to where you're going to have to struggle to get out into the open face. So ideally, you'd be starting at a point break style wave that has an easy paddle out, and you can start at the bottom and work your way up. And the further you get up the point, typically the waves will be getting bigger as well. But it's a nice easy place to learn how to shortboard because it's a consistent breaking point. There's always waves going the same direction. For this example, let's use a left point. So the waves are always going to be going this way. You're paddling up like this, and you're always going to be on the shoulder. So you're watching people take off, where they're taking off, how they're standing up, how fast they're standing up, all those things. So it's a very easy place to learn and study other people and things like that. But yeah, I recommend going to a point break to learn how to step it down to a shortboard. And try to ride a thicker shortboard as well, thicker and wider. And don't go crazy short either. I'd recommend, I mean, I'm 5'11", maybe 5'10", I don't know, maybe I'm being generous, but but let's say if I'm 5'10" and I want to learn how to ride a shortboard and I'm just transferring from a longboard, I would recommend to myself probably something in the 6'6" range, 6 feet 6 inches for that matter, and around 19 inches wide, 2 3/4 inches thick, because that's a really buoyant shortboard, and it's still going to do the same things that a standard thinner high performance shortboard would. The only thing it's going to give you is a bunch more paddle power. It's going to be a lot easier to catch waves, and that is going to be your biggest difficulty transferring from a longboard to a shortboard. Now, with all these tips that I'm bringing up, I do think it's really important that you spend a good amount of time on your foamy before you move to a hardboard, and then that hardboard being a longboard ideally, and then move on to your shorter boards, you know, something a bit longer, a bit thicker, and break it down. You know, I don't necessarily recommend going onto a mid-length egg. Those are kind of odd, difficult surfboards to ride, and they're not the best to really learn how to surf on. I recommend 3-fin surfboards for the most part. You could try single-fin longboards if you'd like, or twin-fin shortboards if you'd like as well, but I definitely think 3-fin surfboards are a lot easier to control, easier to draw a straight line, and easier to turn as well. So definitely stick to the 3 fins, and spend more time on your foamy than you expect. So you don't want to hurt yourself, and you don't want to hurt anyone else either. So just take your time, have fun, be safe, and don't burn anyone. And if you think that you're probably not in the right spot to go on a wave and someone else looks like they're in a better spot, tell them to go so that next time they tell you to go. So you got to give to get. That's how it works. But anyway, thanks for tuning in to another Shralp Stories. Drop anything in the comments if you think I missed anything, or if you have any other questions, and drop a like, subscribe, do what you got to do. But for now, I'm going to go to sleep and go for another surf tomorrow morning. So I'll catch you then. All right, later.